definitely the easiest way to improve mind state and mood, if that's what you're going for, is by first going to the body, fixing things like your airway, but then also flooding your body with as much natural dopamine as possible through low sugar eating, through running every day, lifting is 3-4 times a week, and cold plunging or cold showering. Like the dopamine spikes that you can get by just focusing on bodily disciplines is absolutely the most direct route to mood improvement. So if we're talking about mood improvement, go to the body first. Now, if we're talking for like super mundane attainments of the mind, like introspective insights into the nature of the mind, like a la Buddhist enlightenment, that's a whole different story. Then you have to get meditation involved. And in terms of like next level mind discipline stuff, meditation can also be very beneficial there in terms of like being able to realize negative mental states when they come up, acknowledge that they're just sort of this fleeting thing that's passing through your mind, almost like a bubble that pops out of the air, goes into your head, and is going to wander out eventually if you let it. But what most people do is, as soon as negativity enters the mind, they feed it, they fertilize it, they pour gasoline on the fire, and that makes the mental state more permanent. They believe it's permanent, and so it becomes permanent. So the number one thing that meditation does for happiness, like on an everyday level, is that it makes it a lot easier to realize that negative moods and positive moods, quite frankly, are fleeting, and to be able to let them come and go without fixating on them and then making them worse, right?
Yeah.
Why don't I kick it back to you for like follow-up questions?
I think that what I'm really interested in is the particulars of your meditative practice and also the duration of that practice, because I know that some people will say, oh yeah, I've been meditating for a month or for, so many weeks, maybe 10 weeks. And they're like, I'm feeling all the benefits. It's awesome. And then there are people who are like, I've been meditating for 20 years or 10 years. And it's like, that's when I think the real changes are going to start kicking in at the highest level. But also I kind of wanted to avoid practicing purely mindfulness, because you can practice that really easily at any point. I was hoping to hear from you about like your individual journey through different styles of meditation and like where you landed today.
Yeah. Okay. So I wrote my senior thesis at Bates College about the best way to meditate. That was the question that I began my paper with, is what's the best meditative discipline for achieving nirvana? And what I concluded in that paper was that concentration meditation, rather than vipassana or mindfulness meditation, is, first of all, the approach that the Buddha taught. Even though vipassana or mindfulness, i.e. noting and letting go thoughts as they arise, that's what American New Age Buddhism promotes as real Buddhism, but it's actually not what the Buddha taught. The Buddha taught that the right way to meditate was to meditate with the aim of entering into deep states of concentration called jhana. Jhanic states of concentration are extraordinarily blissful. It's like a single pointedness of the mind where the whole sort of breath body gets absorbed into a singular point of focus. And it's almost like you're washed in this warm cloud of bliss. And when you're in that extremely still, stable, blissful state is where you're like the frame rate of the camera, so to speak, of your mind is slow enough that you can sort of pick out individual frames and then see your mind working in action and have deep meditative insights at that, in that frame of mind, in that state of concentration. So samadhi is another word for it. Jhana, concentration meditation. Samatha is another word for it. Or, the jhanas, the 4 jhanas, is the type of meditation practice that I personally do. I obviously don't go super deep these days because I'm a lay person and I have a very busy lay life. But like for any serious yogi, that's what you want to be building towards, is jhana.
Jhana. Got it.
Jhana.
How long have you been practicing jhanic meditative things?
Since 2013.
Wow. And at first, were you discouraged by the results, or did you seem to immediately kind of pick some of those things up?
No, I picked it up quick. I was really good at it. Yep. A big part of being good at it is having a body that's capable of entering into those states. So because a lot of entering into the deep states of concentration is feeling and molding your own introspective sense of your body, or what Buddhists call breath energy, the more you can make your body feel good, the more you can manipulate it into that single pointed focus and sort of dive into the, the jhana that really is just sort of an expansion of your breath body that you're doing through your meditation. So I had really good sitting posture because I was doing a lot of posture work at the time. Of the people at the monastery, I was the only one who actually gave a shit about posture. And probably, maybe too much so. Like I was hyper focused on posture, but at one point I had this theory that if I could just get my posture perfect, that the meditation would become totally effortless. And to some degree, it actually worked. Like I was readily accessing lower levels, but like pretty damn, like big picture, pretty damn high levels of concentration, but like big picture Buddhist practice, like probably like first jhana or just below the first jhana, something they call access concentration, out of 4.
Out of 4.
Yeah. 4th jhana is like you completely stop breathing at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anybody in a monastery or a meditation group near you enter higher states of jhana?
Yeah, I mean, some of the monks at the monastery I was at had like attainments. Like they had stream entry, which is they actually experienced briefly nirvana and then pulled out of it. And so according to the Buddha, enlightenment happens in 4 distinct through 4 distinct realizations. There's stream entry, once returner, non-returner, and then full-on nirvana, where like the meditative insight into nirvana is permanently fixed into your consciousness, and then you're totally out of the cycle of samsara. You won't be reborn. There were monks at the monastery who had stream entry, at least, possibly higher. And yeah, those guys were going into jhana every time they sat, probably. Wow. Like Thanissaro Bhikkhu, who was the abbot, he's a jhana master, He's written books on it, and they're extremely helpful. And like, if you put into practice what his books say, and you have the karma for it, like if you're naturally predisposed to the concentration, you will access it, which is further evidence, in my opinion, that he was legit and was actually entering those states himself. Yeah.
Man, that's really enticing, and thanks for sharing a little bit about your history with meditation. I'm really just intrigued by that.